my name is Tanisha, and while you're prepping up for your interviews in order to become a successful data analyst or a data scientist, don't miss out on these concepts, guys. The concepts that I'm going to talk about today have been asked to me repeatedly, time and again, from when I was a fresher to even now when I have nearly 3 years of experience. राइट ये सारे क्वेश्चंस मुझे सर्विस बेस्ड एंड प्रोडक्ट बेस्ड कंपनी से पूछे गए एंड ऑल्सो दे आर यूजली बीइंग आस्क्ड बाय इंटरव्यूअर्स व्हिच बिलोंग टू बोथ स्टार्टअप्स एज वेल एज Fortune 500s. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. So I'm going to take a bottom-up approach. I'm going to begin with easier topics and then shift on to the advanced topics. So the first one is Bayes' theorem, which is the probability of an event occurring based on the knowledge of the conditions which are related to the event. So you need to know the formula of Bayes' theorem because this will help you in solving the questions which will be asked by your interviewers. Questions revolving around your coins, or your deck of cards or your dice. All these questions will be very easy to solve once you know the formula of Bayes' theorem. Next is types of data distributions. So you can see the distributions on my left hand side, and I have mostly been asked questions like what are the characteristics of a normal distribution, right? The next concept is something which is related to the previous concept that I've just talked about, which is basically how do you detect and treat outliers. So आपके questions branch out only from one concept to another. While they'll be asking you questions on data distributions, obviously कहीं ना कहीं you will talk about outliers while you'll talk about probably skewed distribution, right? And then they're going to ask you that what are your ways of detecting and treating outliers. So this is how the interview is going to curve out like for you. So make sure that you cover both of these concepts hand in hand. Next is types of tests. So you can see the tests on my left hand side, and they mostly are very keen on knowing whether you know enough about z-test, t-test or chi-square test. They basically want to know whether you know that when to use a certain test and why do you use it. So the next concept is standard deviation and variance. So make sure you know how the symbol looks like, what is the formula of this, and how do you use it in data manipulation. So the next most common concept and question which interviewers cover is that how do you handle missing values, or tell me about missing values treatment, right? So you can see the ways that I usually talk about in my interviews, which are mostly imputation-based methods or algo-based methods of predicting the missing values. Make sure that you sort of classify the methods that you use for continuous and categorical variables. क्योंकि अगर आप अपने structured way में answers दोगे, so that helps you sort of impress the interviewer, and he'll probably make sure that your interview turns out pretty easy and based around basics as well. So make sure that your answer is always structured. Take a minute to think about the question and then talk about whatever you know regarding that concept. And the next concept is pretty much branched out. Whenever you will talk about missing values treatment, obviously our mean median mode to imputation methods में आप बोलोगी. So they'll ask you that explain mean median mode or any one of the three terms in a layman terms. Or imagine that I'm an 8-year-old. Now, how do you explain mean, median, mode to me? So make sure that you are clear about these three terms. Now, before moving on to the last concept, I'm going to talk about that why this concept is extremely important for data analyst interviews. They might be this question might be asked for a data scientist interview as well, but data analyst it's highly important because you deal with a lot of KPIs when you are working as a data analyst day in and day out. Right? So my next concept is knowing the difference between trend, seasonality and cyclicity. These three terms are very important for a data analyst to know, even as a fresher or as an experienced folk. In this, all you need to be sure about is how would the positioning of the data points be in a trend, a seasonality or a cyclicity graph. How would the data points look like? किस cases में a trend, seasonality or cyclicity event occurs. And also you should be comfortable in computing averages, moving averages of the data points under time series analysis. So this is a very important topic for you in which you can impress the interviewer and tell him or her that how you can deal with the KPI seamlessly. So guys, I hope that you liked my video. In case you want to know that how do you deal with interview rounds prior to these managerial or one-on-one interview rounds, then you can look at the other video that I've had on my card above, and I'll also include that video in the description box. which mainly talks about how you can clear the assessment round, right? Or the technical coding round that is being given to you with before you deal with the managerial rounds or the video rounds, right? So, इसमें I'm going to talk about the common concepts of the topics that you need to cover in order to clear a assessment rounds for both SQL and Python. So, I hope you liked my video. If yes, please hit a thumbs up or drop a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, then please subscribe to my channel for more such info. Take care and apply smart.